So, topic of the day is going to be pentatonic scales, the best uses of them over which chords. That's always the big number one question. What scale do I play over what chord? Major pentatonics are really cool because they can cover all kinds of, and there's more than one type of pentatonic scale, so we'll go through each one, but I'm going to do just the major family right now. And so let's say we had like a C6, right? So that's a chord comprised of C, E, G, and A. That's the 1, 3, 5, and the 6, right? Well, we got a beautiful major pentatonic scale, C, D, E, G, A. Fits it like a glove. It's got that tonality. And you actually have another really cool chord tone stuck in there if you was doing like the C6 add 9. So my scale of choice of a major 6 or a major chord, major 6 add 9, is going to be that C major pentatonic, comprised of the 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. C, D, E, G, A, in that case, right? Then, of course, sometimes you're not playing a major 6, maybe sometimes you're playing a major 7 chord. If you're going to play a C major 7 chord, then you want to play a major pentatonic built off the 5 of the chord. So I'm going to do a G major pentatonic. It's going to become rootless voicing too. So I'm going to have G, A, B, D, E. That's going to be my note choices, which would be a 5, 6, 7, 9, and 3. No 1. Okay. But that, when you hear it, it just sounds so in the pocket over a major 7 chord. So, a really nice choice. Now, the other thing I want you to consider as well about those two particular scales, the C major pentatonic could be the A minor pentatonic. All you have to do is start from the A instead of the C. C, so A, C, D, E, G, A. See? And so that means that A minor pentatonic riffs will work beautifully over C6 chords. Right? And vice versa, if I'm doing a C major 7, I can do E minor pentatonic scales. Yeah. And so that's kind of cool, knowing that every major pentatonic is basically its related minor pentatonic. You just have to start from the root of your choice. You were starting from the 6 minor, or you're starting from the 1 major. And keep in mind, the minor pentatonic actually is just made up of the 1 flat 3, 4, 5 flat 7. So A to C is a flat 3, D is the 4th, E is the 5, G was the flat 7. So that's the formula for a minor pentatonic. Okay, still 5 notes, but it covers your minor sounds. But you can see now it actually can be used over major just as nicely. Now, another major chord you might bump into is the major 7 sharp 11. And anytime I'm going to do a sharp 11, what I do is I just play a whole step higher than the root of the chord. So if I'm on a C, say I'm on, let me see, I'll do, it's a C major 7 sharp 11, right? I just did a D major pentatonic scale. And that's that sound. It's going to fit. So that's all your majors pretty much, you know, in the pocket. And then, of course, you know, like I said, D major could have been a B minor. So I could have been playing the C major 7, sharp 11, but and be playing B minor pentatonic chunk on top of it. So then I'm doing a minor pentatonic a half step below instead of the major pentatonic a whole step above. So, but anyways, yeah, that covers all that. Should we go on? Should we do, we've already kind of covered minor pentatonics in a way, right? We haven't actually used them in that manner, so we could do that. So let's say I'm doing C minor. Right? So that's just straight out the C, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, C, E flat, F, G, B flat, C. Now I'm also doing chord pairs, okay? So I'm slipping the C minor 7 to D minor 7. So that's always cool too. And you can actually already see from the layout of the scale right? So I'm doing all these little notes. So I'm actually in this chord or this chord, you know, in a way. This would be. There I'm just incorporating that instead of the D in the bass, right? Right? So it's really like a D minor over E flat bass, you know, or F over E flat bass. It gets funky when you're thinking of how you're going to spell out a chord. Just as long as it makes sense to the person who's reading the chord diagram. So if I needed to get somebody into that voicing, I might say, oh, F over E flat. Right? And get you right there. You just automatically go for that, you know. And that might even bring in some new ideas for you too. Like I could do this and let me see. If I'm going to do, so E flat. I'm going to need A, C, F. Right? So anyway, that's down the road. That's, you know, just your own noodling and amusements. Another thing to think about though, on minor pentatonics that I could use over the C minor 7, I can use the minor pentatonic built off the 5. So I could use C, D, G, B flat, C, D, F. And that's going to give me those other really sweet notes that we throw on minor 7ths, the 9 and the 11. So that covers them nice. You know, if I'm doing... So that's a cool sound too. So you got the 9s and the 11s. So if you got one of those really nice jazzed up minor 7th chords and it's got the 9 and the 11 on it, go for the 5 minor pentatonic scale to play on it. All right, then let's get to the dominant 7ths. So we're covering all the main chords you ever bump into in any tune: majors, minors, dominant 7ths, right? And then occasionally you might find a diminished or an augmented, but okay, so dominant 7th, okay? I'm going to start right off. I'm just going to do a C9, but I'm going to do C, D, E, G, B flat. I'm sorry, stop throwing in the 13. I know it's a good note, so I did it. Right. So the dominant pentatonic is pretty much almost like the major pentatonic, except instead of doing a 6, you do a flat 5. So it'd be, in this case, C, D, E, G, B flat instead of G, A. Oh, I'm start throwing in a 4 there. And, the thing is, you can borrow from all kinds of places. Like, I know of the blues scale is going to fit this dominant 7th really well, too, right? Right, so there's a ton of different places you can go, of course, naturally, And it's always under the situation of what you have. What's the chord? What's the harmony? Wanting for nice melodic lines, and that's where the scales come involved. So that's the reason, that's the marriage between the chords and the melody, is the chords and the scale relationships. It's been my biggest study for over 20, 30. Okay. No, yeah, okay. I'm going to give away my age. I have been playing guitar for 61 years. 61 years, and still learning. And still loving it, too. So that's the main thing. As long as you love what you're doing, there ain't no stopping you, and you can just go. And I wouldn't ever want to think to myself I've learned everything I need to know, because that would be futile. That would mean now there's no spark, no drive, So you're always on that search, always on the search for something nice. And a lot of times it just pops up out of the thin blue air, and you're like, whoa, So I love that when that happens, and it happens, Okay, so dominant 7ths. Now let's say we got one of those really crazy dominant 7ths, right? Say it's a sharp 9 or something, right? So if you play a dominant pentatonic built off the flat 6 of the chord, so in the case of C7 sharp 9, I'm going to go for B flat. A flat, I'm sorry. A flat, B flat, C, E flat, G flat, and of course I won't start it from A flat. I might as well start it from C itself. So if I do, I get C, E flat, G flat, right? So there I was just doing the first few notes of it. C, E flat, G flat, A flat, B flat, C natural, da do da do 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 do. Right. So that's how those work, and you can actually use that particular dominant pentatonic built off the flat 6 will work even over a half diminished, or a -7 flat 5, if you want to call it that. It can even work over the diminished itself. And of course, we can always incorporate the altered dominant scales, and there's a couple of those. So one's based off the symmetrical half whole, and it goes that way, such as C, D flat, E flat, E, F sharp, right? Then you might do G, A, B flat, C, da, 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 da. So that's one way. That's just doing constantly half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, and doing it a half step above your root. So if I'm on a C altered dominant, I'm going through C, C sharp, or D flat really, because it's a flat 9. There's a D. Wait a minute, what am I? Oh, I'm getting a. Okay. Save that one for later. It'll be the next video. Those things get so confusing, but it's, you know, it is that I'm. Oh well, okay. No, let's not say I'm going to get confused over it. So one, you got to start from C. C, D flat, D sharp or E flat, E, F sharp, G sharp, F flat, G flat, G sharp, B flat, C. So that altered dominant seventh scale just uses the root, the flat 9, the sharp 9, the 3, then uses the flat 5, the sharp 5, the flat 7, and you're back to your root. It's got how many notes is that? Is that one of those? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, still a 7-note scale. If I do the true diminished scale, so if I went up one more step, it would have been an 8-note scale. That's, yeah. We're up in the upper steps now, you know, so it gets interesting. But if you think about it, what's the altered dominant scale do? It just gives you your flat 9, sharp 9, flat 5, sharp 5. And of course you get your flat 7 and 3, which is your shell voicing, you know. And see, so I'm always going to be in. So yeah, shell voicings are wonderful. So just 3s and 7s. Well, we've covered quite a bit, so let's wrap it up. Let's do one more, and that is the suspended. So the sus pentatonic scale. So if I'm doing like a C sus, right? Maybe that's, and there it was actually a C dominant 7 sus 4, right? Because I actually have the B flat in that chord. I could also just do C sus 4. But for just intents and purposes. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to do root, the 2, and that's how I'm going to label that one too, because it could be on a C sus 2. And then I'm going to do the 4, and the 5, and the flat 7. And that's it. So that's your notes. Right? So So that works over any suspended chord, sus 2 or sus 4. You can use that. It's a 1, 2, 4, 5, flat 7. That's the formula for a suspended dominant. It's suspended, yeah, might as well keep the word dominant there. It's got a flat 7. Suspended dominant pentatonic. Work over any sus 2 chord, sus 4 chord, dominant 7, sus 4s, things like that. But anyways, try it out. See what you get out of it. Thanks for listening.